Today, you are about to witness photographic greatness. Myself, as well as Jordan Powers and Austin Baker, two other photographers who recently hung out with me in Joshua Tree to bask in my creative genius, were given an imaginary assignment by an imaginary client to photograph the same space, a small powder bath with no natural light. Same subject, same lighting conditions, but obviously, only one of us ends up achieving true artistic perfection. And spoiler, it's me. Probably. Maybe, or not. Probably not. It's photography. It's subjective. But here's the twist. After we are done shooting and editing our masterpieces, we then sit down and roast each other's photos. We discuss what we liked, what we didn't like, and if each of us were to do it again, what we would do different. Turns out, photography is not just about skill. It's also about how you interpret a subject. Or in my case, how you survive to better photographers judge your work. Let's see how we all fare, and at the very least, if I still end up with any shred of dignity still intact. We'll start with how each of us shot the space, and we'll begin with Jordan Powers.
So I'm gonna photograph this space as though I'm shooting it for a builder. I don't really shoot for many interior designers. I imagine if I was shooting for an interior designer, the focus might be more specifically on the bathroom. But it just, in my experience working with builders, they're gonna wanna see where the bathroom is. Like, yes, the details are important, but they might also wanna see like the pool in the background, or like where this is at in relation to everything else in the house. What I want to do, I'm going to shoot this handheld. I'm going to shoot brackets, and I'm going to just essentially rely on my tools. The in-body stabilization, I'm going to use the wall to stabilize myself, and then I can use my tools in post-production to align the images if they're off a little bit and do any kind of color correction I need to. I'm considering this a supplemental photo in an entire set that we're going to be shooting for this fictional builder. I'm not gonna I could do this. I could shoot the entire powder bath and have like a, you know, a full view of it from floor to ceiling. I get the toilet, I'd get all the details, but like it's a powder bath. So like to me, what's actually interesting about it is just where it's located and what's around it. I could put it on a tripod, I'm just being lazy. Should I grab my assistant, Austin?
Ready.
Okay.
Thanks, Assistant Austin.
Yeah, let's get the trash can and the bottle of soap is fine, but there's a little blue bottle next to it. And then just maybe slightly rotate that to the left a little bit. Other left, yep, like that. Okay, so the only reason I would want to use a flash on this is because I am getting some blooming on the frames of the windows. I could also resolve that by just opening this up, and I think I will. I mean, it is a feature of the house, so why not show it off? All right.
Got it?
Got it.
Okay.
All right, so I lined up all the way into here. Got back pretty much as far as I can. I could go a little bit farther, but I didn't really feel it necessary. And so I'm currently shooting right around 45 millimeters right now. ISO 100, and then f11, and then my shutter speed is gonna change depending on what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start off by just doing a small bracket, just to kind of see, well actually first I'm gonna start off by staging. Just gonna move a couple things around. I can see it all right now, so I don't mind doing it myself, but usually I would have an assistant that's helping me out on this. And I'm going to now change the shutter speed to something that should entirely kill all of the ambient light. Everything's below in here. I have a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of light from the actual lights up there, but that's fine.
Okay.
The light's above the sink.
And you're gonna build it back up using the flash.
I'm gonna build it back up using the flash, exactly. Make sure my flashes, this is my 8600. I love this flash. Took a tumble off a second story window, still survived. A little beat up, but gets the job done. My 8200, my workhorse flashes that I've had for probably 6 years, the same ones. There's not a lot of color in this wall, and so I feel fairly confident to be able to bounce the light in here off of this wall. It's gonna absorb a lot of the light, but I have enough flash power where I should be able to still get enough light coming in. If this wall had any kind of real color to it, blues, reds, warms, anything, I would be concerned about it throwing color across the room. But since there's little to no color in this, I think I can give it a shot to just bounce it off clear.
So I have a leading question then, because if you look up, the ceiling's white, so inevitably we're gonna get some people that are gonna ask why
did I not bounce it
why not bounce it off the
ceiling?
ceiling?
Yeah, so I don't want the light to be entirely coming down.
Okay.
I want a little bit of cross light coming into the scene this direction. Not saying it would be wrong to bounce it off. In a room with no windows, I think you could get away with bouncing it off the ceiling because you're not trying to like mimic window light, But I just think as a general rule, you're gonna get more detail and more texture in a more natural way with the light cascading across this 3D tile this way more than just top down.
Yeah.
Once again, personal preference, depends on what you want. I will say if there's a window in the scene, I would avoid top down bouncing
Definitely.
because of the fact it's gonna look like your light is coming from a weird area.
But by setting it up like this, you're kind of mimicking or pretending as if there might be a window from this direction.
Theoretically,
correct?
yeah.
What's your initial reaction to that again?
I can see my flash in the mirror, so I'm gonna see if I can pull that out.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a hot spot, but I might be able to control that in post. And the colors are really different between the flash that I have lighting up this wall and the flash I have lighting up in the bathroom. And I just have to decide on whether or not I want to go through the effort of trying to fix that on site with gelling or anything, or whether or not I just want to fix it in post, which is probably what I'll do.
And Jordan, while Austin's shooting, you're editing yours, right?
I think I have enough information where I can take this back and build the final product in Photoshop.
Okay.
So just have a little bit more ambient blend in here and a little bit of color correction. But that's basically how I would shoot it.
Awesome. Okay, here is what I'm thinking. There's some things that jump out to me immediately. Some of this has already been said as far as the cool, unique features. The texture wall is the first thing I think most people are gonna notice. The unique vanity or sink, however you wanna put it, I think that's cool. The horizontal light fixture is pretty awesome. I'm gonna do this as a vertical. I'm pretending as if I got the assignment and the only direction I got was real generic and it said take a photo of the powder bath. And I'm going to adjust the shutter speed enough where this thing looks bright but it doesn't look nuclear. And then whatever is left that's not being lit because of taking the ambient light down so far is to build it back up by using flash. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to use a flash, gel it, probably use a half CTO and bounce it off the ceiling. And the reason I'm gonna gel it is you'll probably see here in the edit is that I'm getting close to matching the color temperature of that light. I'd love to shoot no wider than 35, and I think that's very possible. The more I'm doing this,
the more you realize how much you're sucking.
I just don't know what I'm doing. I don't know, man. Almost straight out of camera, this thing's not half bad.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna try my technique just for the heck of it. I want to see what it looks like, but I'm still gonna flash it for the sake of teaching you something. Okay, where are we at? Get out of my way. And I will be bouncing this off of the ceiling. So this is what you might call a gel. This is going to alter the color.
This is what I would call a gel. So this is what you might call a gel.
This is a gel.
This is what you might call a gel.
You might refer to it as a gel. Some people call it transparent orange paper. What would Steven do? There we go. That works.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, all together?
Yeah, all together. 1, 2, 3. What a, you are a real something, so-and-so.
Hey, you're the best.
Thanks.
So we've all shot, we've all edited each one of our photos. None of us here have seen the other person's final edits, final images yet of just that single shot that we took. So
Right. So when we pull them up, it'll be the first reaction.
yeah, and we're looking at yours first.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and pull it up.
All right.
Okay. I know. That's my thought as well.
It's good. No, here.
It's fine. It's good.
It's
good.
It's
yeah,
good.
we like
It's
it.
all right. I'm gonna go view. I'm gonna hit enter full screen. So I've got nothing else.
Yeah.
Just taking it in.
Composition, I really do like it. It adds or tells more of the story, shows more context to it. Aside from that, I'm gonna glass half empty. The first thing that jumps out at me, it's grainy. It's really grainy.
Yeah.
What ISO was this at?
That was part of the problem. I didn't adjust my ISO.
Oh, okay.
And I shot it at like 1,000, I think.
Okay.
But then
I
had to
shot
pull
it
it
really
up.
high. Yeah.
Gotcha. I think the outside is exposed properly. I might have added just a bit more contrast, but I don't know. I think overall the composition, because you said you were trying to shoot this for like a builder, right?
Yeah.
I think a builder's gonna like this, because this definitely has layers to it. You get a hint at the shelves. Obviously, you're showing the powder bath, and then you get your sightline to the outside.
Yeah, composition nailed it. One thing I really like about the composition in general is even though I was in the same space, saw the same thing, I don't think I ever overshot this. And I think this is a wonderful composition, especially considering the home and where it is in the desert is so important to the entire house. being able to incorporate that, I think would make any client happy. Grain is distracting. There's just a lot of it.
Yeah, there is.
But the composition's nailed, which I will always say that there's nothing more important than a good composition.
Yeah, I think for me, the noise is a lot. And believe it or not, what I actually did on this was I ran a denoiser and removed all the noise. And then I added a little bit of noise back in because it looked a little too. So I probably overdid it a little bit.
Looks like film grain. I was wondering, it looks like, that's
I probably overdid it a little bit. So just full disclosure there. But the original was very grainy.
If you squint your eyes, it's perfect.
And I think I don't know if you remember me saying, as soon as I pulled them on the computer, I just realized that I didn't shoot a bright enough exposure as well. So that didn't help at all.
Oh, so you're even stretching it out even more?
I'm stretching it out even more than I should have.
Okay.
But had I not been quote unquote lazy and just put it on a tripod, problem would have been solved, I think. For a half butt effort. I think, I don't know. I mean, like I definitely would not put this in a portfolio, but if it's just an image the builder asked me if I could grab really quick and it wasn't like super important, but they just wanted to have it, this is probably what I would shoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Move on to yours.
We move on to mine.
Okay.
I'm excited. I feel like mine could not be more different. I feel like all the things I prioritized and focused on were the opposite.
And Austin's.
Yeah.
First reaction, I don't think you were going for natural light. I think you were really trying to highlight the texture, and I think you accomplished that. I think it's all about intentionality. If that was the goal and the designer wanted to really highlight the texture, this pulls it off perfectly. And also, I would say lack of texture, like the smooth surface on the sink. If you go back to my image, it looks my image is really grainy and like you can't see how smooth it is. And I think this really helps emphasize that. The color feels pretty accurate. Like I can tell that it's not an entirely yellow room because you used light, and mine looks like a very yellow room. There's no distinction between what's white and what's gold and brass or whatever in there. So composition wise, I think you pulled it off as well. You showed how the wall, this wall here, this little accent wall, like kind of ties into that, even though they're different textures. Compositionally, I think it's pleasing.
Now that I'm seeing it, if it was up to me, I probably would have moved that plant in a little bit more, and then maybe just rotated it so this really rogue. We're splitting hairs here.
Yeah,
I want to make that very clear.
This is all
this is
preference,
this is silly stuff, because at the end of the day, I get we probably all get asked by random other photographers online, whether it is YouTube or Instagram, to ask us to critique their photos. We're splitting hairs on some of this stuff. At the end of the day, do you like it? Does it match your style? And I think ultimately, if you're being commissioned for a shoot, do your clients like it? Sometimes I think we hyper-focus on what other photographers think of our work, and what we really need to focus on is, are we pleasing our clientele? So anyway, that being said, this is awful.
Yeah, it's rough, right?
Yeah, I think just to give some constructive criticism, so where the light placement is, there's no light in there, so like I'm seeing it come from this back corner of the room. I can see the hot spot. This is being hypercritical.
Yeah.
But I can see like the hot spot on the mirror. I can see the light coming down from behind this light, which tells me that there must be another light higher than this light. So it's not like true to reality, but if that's not the goal, then it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You kind of touched on it in the beginning. When I went and started composing this and starting lighting it, my primary objective was to show the texture on the two tiles.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of very intentional to have two different three-dimensional white tiles.
What was the shutter speed you were at on this? You were cutting out most of the ambient light, right?
So I blended some ambience in there just to kind of soften a couple areas, but most of this is flash, and I shot it at 250th f9, and so it was
mostly
basically
gone.
black. I think I just had a tiny bit of light coming in.
Part of me wonders if I set up this composition, I was using the flash in the same positions, I would have brought down the brightness of the powder bathroom light itself just a little bit more, because I think it detracts a little bit from the light fixture. I would have preferred the light fixture to stand a little bit more. Then the other thing is, I actually would have, I know you were talking about setting up like this and you were afraid that the light fall off would have cast a shadow or something, but I think if it was a large enough source with that diffuser, I think it would have almost looked really, really natural. It just would have very subtly raked across, in turn creating almost a natural vignette.
Yeah.
Where you
I
would
can
show
see
off the
that.
texture, but your eye is led to the brightest spot, which
Yeah.
is the powder room. So, but again, splitting hairs. Overall, I think if you handed this over to an interior designer, I think there's a 95+% chance they're gonna love it. So, next one.
Yep.
Here we go. Ooh. First impressions, go.
I love how dark it is.
Yeah, I love the depth.
I love that I can see, I mean, the texture is very much highlighted, the blue light. Neither one of our shots showed the blue light off, and I think that was an important decision the designer would have made. I like that the sink, the what do you call it? Just the front of the sink or whatever isn't super lit up. It's in the shadows, but you can still see a subtle bit of
The curve.
the curve.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
I really like it. I like how dark it is. I definitely would not change the overall how dark the shadows are. I think the only thing I would say is
It would be nice to have a couple brighter highlights, particularly like the interior of the sink or the little tabletop, to draw your eye in a bit more, because the brightness on that is essentially the same as everything else around it. So there's nothing to really pull you to that center. You're
Yeah.
pulled more up to the light, and that's up into the corner. So that would have been
Yeah.
nice. Also, I would have spent an extra second kind of dressing up the towel a bit more, so it's not elephant trunking into the shot. I love this. I love your colors and the fact that, you know, that is true to the colors. I chose to not show off the blue light. I think I didn't like it, which is selfish and wrong.
Well-
that really shows it well.
Yeah, and again, in my head, I was shooting this again, I was hired for an interior designer, and I know there was probably thought put into
Yeah.
that. So if they took the time to either pick out this mirror or have it installed custom, that's something they want to show off.
Also, I'll also point out I can actually see the light fixture better compared to both mine and Austin. I can see like how the light's built.
Yep.
So if this was something you were to, I don't know, license or whatever, I can see that really well. There's nothing you probably could have done about it, but the reflection bothers me. It's a little distracting. Just
Which
with,
part?
Just with the door.
Oh,
with the,
yeah.
like seeing the door in the reflection. It's just this brown. There's probably nothing you could have done about it.
I mean, you could possibly change out the image completely, but I think you're taking a risk of
That's what I'm saying.
making it almost more distracting.
You could have maybe, because what focal length did you shoot at?
This was close to 35.
So you could have maybe thrown on a tilt shift, the 24 with an extender.
Yeah.
And then tilted in a little bit, or shifted in a little bit to like get rid of some.
Get rid of the textured wall.
Get rid of some of the wall on the right and shift it that way.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if that would have shown. Again, we're splitting hairs here. Compositionally, that's just how I would have done it.
Sure.
It's not the right way. I just would have wanted the sink, like I would have wanted the subject to be more along one of the thirds. Like I probably would have had it more on the right. Whereas in this composition, it's like dead in the center.
Yeah.
Again, nothing wrong with it. I'm just talking about when we're talking personal preference, how we would do it.
You know, we talk about oftentimes either having a 1-point perspective or a 2-point perspective and how the slight angles are off. That's why I stayed away from this composition. Saying that, sometimes there's compromises that need to be made because other aspects are more important. And I think this is a great example. This is an oblique angle. It's not a 2-point perspective. It's not a 1-point perspective. However, necessary angle to show off the best features of this room. And so I think it was a good choice to break a rule to get that image.
Well, I'm kind of a bad boy, so.
Just gotta do it sometimes.
Yeah. Also, the only other thing I would add
smoldering
is
right
like,
now.
you did remove the yellow color in there, the yellow color cast almost entirely. Like I don't think it's wrong, but I'm just curious.
Not entirely.
What your decision was.
So when I did kind of correct the white balance to be exact, although it was exact, it looked too cold. So I actually warmed it up by like maybe a couple hundred Kelvin. So there actually is a little bit more
Yeah, it's
warmth in there.
subtle, yeah.
It's very subtle, and then I took some of that warmth and still toned down the yellows that were showing up. So I wanted to give it kind of that clean look without it looking sterile.
So, okay, if we could go back and shoot these again, what would we do different? You guys mind if I start with my own?
Yeah, go for it.
Go back in order. So, talking through everything you guys shared, I probably would have, I don't know that I definitely would have put this on a tripod, just so I had that stability, and I could have maybe a little bit longer exposure or slower shutter speed, either in post-production or on the, I would have done something different about the white balance in here. It's a little too warm, and I don't know.
But that's easy. I mean, all you gotta do is select your yellows and tone them down a bit.
Yeah,
right?
but this feels right to me because this feels like what it actually looks like when we're standing here. But just seeing your guys, I just like that whiter look a little bit more. So I probably would have toned back this a little bit.
What would you have done different?
I think taking a little bit more time to really settle on a composition, I think would be nice. I like my composition a lot, but after seeing yours, I can say that I never even tried it.
I tried to do yours first, or a variation of this, and I was a little lazy because I didn't want to deal with the color difference because I knew I was going to gel my light. I didn't want to deal with the color difference in this, and plus two, I thought as tight as I wanted to go, I thought I was going to. It would for me. I thought I would convey that adding that shelf in there would almost be a mistake.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying that because I'm reaffirming your choice of actually showing more shelf, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm basically saying the opposite. I'm not even saying I would have chosen a different composition. I think I may have still ended up settling on mine because I think it's my style. But I never even considered yours, which I find a bit disappointing, and because I feel like I'm gonna miss opportunities if I don't take that extra 2-3 minutes to move my butt around and look at more spaces, have that lens. Jordan did that for a minute. You took your lens and you walked around to a few different areas, and both your guys' compositions were ones I never considered.
I'm trying. I think if
There's no. I mean, I did it perfectly, right?
I did so well, and I do this on every shot. No regrets.
No, I think it's wonderful. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty humble and modest, but I think this is the best photo that any photographer has ever taken in history.
Probably,
so
yeah.
I want to put that out there. I think I would have changed some more in the edit. I'm actually really satisfied with the composition. Yes, I would have focused more on adjusting the towel. The towel's a little distracting. I might have tried to do something, and what it is I don't know yet, is to show up a little bit more of the curve of the sink. I think there's some tricks I may have been able to do to have a subtle amount of light fall off from the brightest side being on the left and have it fall off to the right. Yeah. How to specifically do that, I don't know right off the bat, but yeah, I think overall I probably would have.
You probably could have added like a little bit of a reflector on the ground just to like bounce into it.
Yeah, and my justification might be some of the light that's bouncing off the toilet might have come back, and the toilet is just out of frame on this shot. The first thing immediately I know I would do different is in the edit I probably brighten it up a bit more. I might tone down the blues a little bit, but
I wouldn't brighten up the whole image. Maybe just kissing some highlights on there.
Yeah. And I did. I already tamed some of the highlights already.
I'll bring up a tiny bit.
Oh, bring them up?
Yeah. Just to kind of pull your focus into a couple areas.
This is my first time shooting like the same exact thing with two other people and sitting like immediately after comparing them, and just I don't know. I think this is a good exercise. Like it's not gonna change my style necessarily, but it gave me a lot to think about. I probably wouldn't just send this off to a client in hindsight, but had we not done this exercise, I probably would. Because it's not that I'm lazy. It's just that, I'm not very thoughtful.
No, we get it. I think we get it, and they get it too. Yeah. So, well, for the sake of ending the video, I'm going to put all our Instagram handles up here too. Yeah. That is it. Feel free to leave your opinion in the comments as well. Don't forget to do all the cliche YouTube stuff, like, share, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 blah.
Positive opinions only.
Yeah, right.
Rip mine apart. Destroy me in the comments.
And I actually don't think we need to say that because it's nothing but positive comments on YouTube. Why would he? It just goes without saying.
I would appreciate it if a few of you attacked my personal appearance. That's what I want out of this video.
Well, that's what YouTube's for.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you on the next video.